So let's start with the. Oh, you have already one. Yeah.
This is also. You can ask it later.
We ask it, this one a little bit later. So I start with the first one I received. Is AUTOSAR Consortium considering standardized basic software configuration tool? So it's a question about the tooling.
Who wants to take that? Standardized configuration tool?
No, at the moment I do not know plans to have a basic configuration tool standardized, but what we are standardizing are the configuration parameters. Yeah. And the tool vendors needs to implement this.
So the next question is also about the Classic platform. What is the possibility to leverage other languages in the Classic platform like C++ or Rust for in-vehicle software or Python for tooling?
So in principle, we said, okay, we currently only support C++, but for Classic we only support C. So sorry, yeah. So that's, and I don't think that it makes sense to support Python or something like that on a Classic ECU. Maybe the only option you might have is C++, but currently there is no activity to do that.
But maybe I can add here some aspect. I mean, the binding part in AUTOSAR Classic is C90 compatibility at the RTs, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I recall, and we know applications integrated in Classic that are written in C++, but respecting the C90 interface compatibility.
Okay, the next question is about SOAFI. What kind of activity are planned with SOAFI? I think SOAFI's context is not aligned with AUTOSAR, was this question. So would you like to answer it? Who is?
So as I'm talking to Robert Tay the most time about collaboration with Sophie and AUTOSAR, makes sense to take that one. So we're talking with each other. This is basically what we also said during some of the talks. So we are in loose contact with a lot of organizations. There's no concrete activity that we can say as of today. So we're exchanging information. We try to understand each other. We try to understand the technical context. And I mean, could be that there is basically one statement that says, I think Sophie's context is not aligned with AUTOSAR. I think this will change, so this is why we're talking to each other, and as soon as we have activities that we can jointly announce, of course, we will jointly announce them.
Michael, since you are the SOAFI specialist, I think you have the next question. Is containerizing of basic software also part of SOAFI?
I have to pass this question to a Sophie colleague because I don't know the basic software aspect from Sophie. But I would assume if you talk about workloads in Sophie, then you most likely would not split the AUTOSAR workload in half. In my opinion, yeah. So you would always have a complete AUTOSAR workload with a complete stack below. To consider as one container, as one orchestrated element in the Sophie architecture.
So now we have a better chance to involve others. AUTOSAR Open Framework, which specifications will or are planned to be opened up? Thomas?
Yeah, that's what I already mentioned in the welcome note. We will not open any specifications that are today in AUTOSAR Classic or AUTOSAR Adaptive due to the IP regulations we have in AUTOSAR. So for the open projects, we will really have only new generated content, new IP. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I just want to say you have a chance to squeeze out the steering committee, and you have a chance to squeeze out CPL. So if you have now questions which you have not written down, you have a chance. Raise your hand, and I will give you the mic, and you can ask the colleagues here.
Hi, this may be an obnoxious question. Do we know what Tesla is doing with regards to AUTOSAR?
Wow.
If anything.
Do we know if Tesla idea?
Do we know if
Anything.
they're using it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are they beating their pants off us?
I'm not sure that they are not. I'm not sure that they are not using it, but they are using it through a tier 1 supplier. That is a little bit different.
Anyone else? So I continue with a question which is not very technical, it's very simple, I think. Where will be the next AOC be located?
Okay. I've later on the closing remarks. So the next AOC will be in Tokyo, and you're of course all welcome to participate.
So another question you saw, we have a lot of recording here and video taking. And so one question is, when will the recordings be available and where? And when will be the brochure be available? You know, there is a brochure under development. And
It's a booklet of 150 pages.
yeah, a booklet, if you have some room in your bookshelf, you can document the 20 years of AUTOSAR there. So I was informed, I think end of June or midst of July, it will be a digital version of the brochure available, and latest at end of July, we will have some versions of the printed versions which you can buy or order. Or I don't know in which way, but you probably had to contact an AUTOSAR admin for asking for the brochure. And the recordings will be available. Maria, I'd forgotten.
They will be available most likely end of this quarter and
Yeah.
beginning or end of
Good. So please go to our website. You will find then the documentation and probably have some fun in watching the presentations you have had in the last 2 days. Now, it looks like the final question, if you don't have one, but as I would like to encourage you to use the time. It's a unique opportunity. SC members and PL members, all available for your questions. But if you don't have questions, I have a last one. I'll make them a little bit curious what comes as a last one. You, good.
So AUTOSAR launched a hub strategy last year, and I'm curious from the SC and the PL whether they are seeing that as a positive step, and what is their plans to expand in the future?
I mean, we have now 3 regional spokespersons, right? With North America, with China, and with Japan, and on top of Guenter's spokesperson activities, and they are usually tied with user groups. And what we discussed is basically that hub strategy really depends on the activity in the region. So if there is not a lot of AUTOSAR partners, there are not a lot of interest in starting a user group, we will also not implement additional hubs, of course. But if there are a lot of partners, if there is user groups found, if there is a lot of discussions in these user groups, of course it makes sense then also to consider other regions to spawn off additional hubs.
Simon, over there.
Hi. Sometimes we see interoperability of ARXML in AUTOSAR Classic due to not so difference in maturity of features in the where vendors adoption in the AUTOSAR Classic, and that causes, I guess, difficulty in translation between application and architecture tools. What can we do to improve that interoperability or translation? Thank you.
interoperability topic. Anybody? If not, I'll give it a try. I mean, at the end of the day, if we have problems because of interoperability, usually come from ambiguities in specifications, right? So what is the standard procedure in AUTOSAR is if you encounter those, create a bug. It's simple like that. We are a standardization organization, so if we don't get the feedback you have found in the field, we can also not improve the standard. So it's very essential. Of course, it won't fix your problem right now, right immediately, but it is long-term also necessary to get all of the feedbacks you have encountered in the field. And this is also what we are getting, right? So because in the interoperability landscape, dedicatedly, I'm not aware about any concrete concept or concrete activity right now that tackles the interoperability. So in the past, we had some of those activities. I think for 5 to 8 years ago, there was interoperability discussions in AUTOSAR as a dedicated topic, but at the moment there's no concrete activity about that. But of course, we can take this with us. We can also think about what can be spawned in that direction.
So I want to ask you one question, all of you. What is the main taking you are taking away from these last 2 days?
I think something that was really evident, at least to me, but I think to many people, is that we are in a situation where we have as many sponsors as of SDV and consortiums as, I would say, nearly companies. This is like having a drum section, let's call it SOAFI, a brass section, let's call it Eclipse SDV, I don't know, string section, and so on. The question is in which way this orchestra can really produce something, a nice performance. I will, let's say, promote as much as possible AUTOSAR to provide the score and to be the, let's call it in French, because I don't know the term in English, the chef d'orchestre of all of that.
I guess we take here alternate turns. I don't know. We have 2 micros working. Yeah, okay. Well, then you have to talk at least twice or so. We are in the majority here. But I have to say, one of my takeaways is we have had this AOC now for 3 years, virtual. It is so nice to see people again. And I've done presentations in the virtual version, and it's so much better to have these discussions afterwards because that's simply not possible in the virtual version. And I think this was really great for everyone. I enjoyed that personally a lot.
Yeah, and for me it's very easy, so I will wait with my conclusion until the closing remarks.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, as Jennifer also said, it's really, really great to see all the people here, to get into talks, especially in the breaks, and also yeah, to see new faces here. And yeah, for me, it was my first AOC, and it was really, yeah, it was a great feeling.
Yeah, so I fully agree with Jennifer and Steffen. So I'm also really happy to see all of you again. And I think for me it was also quite exciting and quite interesting to see that we have so many different standardization bodies coming here also together. So in the first day we had very interesting sessions, and I think this is really important, that we are going ahead like this. And I've seen a couple of presentations where you're also stating, collaboration is important, and I think we should really go further on in this direction. So this also is really a takeaway I would like to take with me today.
Yeah, for me it's really very positive to see that it looks like we have a common understanding that there are a lot of organizations active in the software-defined vehicle world, and we need to somehow come together and find a way how these organizations could work together, and could at the end take the benefit for all the organizations. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was very nice to see solutions based on AUTOSAR, but also to see ideas of where AUTOSAR could go in the next years. And this was really nice to see, and I really like to thank you on behalf of the PLs for the great preparation and for sharing in this opportunity your ideas of what we can do and where it can evolve and how we can collaborate with other organizations. And it was really nice to see your involvement in this, and really like to thank you very much for this.
Yeah, for me, a software-defined vehicle is really coming true. I always thought it's just buzzword, but seems like we have solutions and we have some concrete outlook and vision for that. I'm really happy for that. And also, seems like we really have some common understanding that AUTOSAR is also an important part of this collaboration work. Yeah, I think someday we will make it. And I'm also happy to see people here after 3 years. I think I have seen so many people for quite a long time.
Yeah, most of the things I have in mind are said already. I also would say it was really nice to see all of you. Was after only this virtual AOCs, and my first and until now the last AOC was 2018 in Shanghai. So it was really great to be here and to see all of you. And takeaway is also that collaboration is really important, and this is what we should look for. And also, yeah, Adrian mentioned it, the ideas was very great presented, but I also would like to encourage you also to join AUTOSAR as an active contributor. If you're already partners, and it's easy, register your experts in our working groups and improve AUTOSAR, because this is also very important.
Okay, then for me it was very interesting. My first AOC was 10 years ago, on the 10th anniversary of AUTOSAR. So this is retrospectively looking back, quite interesting. Back then I was a small engineer doing AUTOSAR development, and when I recall presentations and the collaboration, it was only AUTOSAR partners, no third parties talking. And comparing those two AOCs, we see that the ecosystem is changing to more collaborative way overall. So I really appreciate the talks about collaboration possibilities. Of course, if there is collaboration, there's also friction, so it's not always going frictionless, but such in-person events help to sort out these frictions and to also understand chances in collaboration and possibilities, and jointly look into the future of an automotive ecosystem together between all of the relevant organization of an SDV.
So it's your last chance, otherwise I read the last question. Okay, I do the last question. It's about vision. 20 years of AUTOSAR. Where will be AUTOSAR in the next 20 years? I know the statement from Norbert Wiener, nothing is more difficult to predict than the future. So who dares to say something about it?
I think it was still, sorry, I think it still would be here, because I won't be retired until then, I guess.
Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed the conference.